right, so in order to answer this question, we have to look back to the 1600s. In the 1600s, everybody looked and did the same experiments that we did the first month of class, where we dealt with lenses and mirrors, and they said, surely light is a particle. And then the 1700s came along, and they did the experiments that we did over the last week or two. And they said, oh, boy, were we wrong. Surely light is a wave. And then the 1800s came along, and they're like, wait a minute, it behaves like both. Maybe it's both.
I swear if you tell me.
And then the 1900s came along, and they did a big experiment, and it was very sophisticated. They did the exact same experiment you guys did with the laser beam and the diffraction gratings, where you shine it through the slits that were close together, and you saw the little dots. And what they did is they made a diffraction grating that was so narrow, with slits so tiny, that only tiny pieces of light could go through at one time. And they had a screen in the background, and that screen would register every time a little bit of light made it through. And here's what they found. After a little bit of time, a little dot showed up there, and there, and there, and there. And as time went on, and on, and on,
No, don't do it.
and on,
Oh, don't do it, no.
Wait, no, what?
they saw a pattern. And they saw a pattern that was very similar to the pattern that you saw when you shined it through the first diffraction grating. Those two slits that were close together, and you saw three little dots. And they saw these dots too. But these dots were produced by individual light particles. And we have a name for those particles. What do we call them?
Light
particles.
Yes!
Starts with a PH. Photons. Photons are particles of light, and the thing with these photons is they always behave in a wave-like fashion. So even though light will always behave like a wave, light is ultimately, made up of these smaller particles. So the answer to the question, what is light? Light is a particle that behaves like a wave.
What?
Light is a particle that behaves like a wave.
I was right.
It's kind of like when you have like water waves, Water waves are not themselves made up of waves. Those waves are made up of smaller water particles. And the same thing is true here.